I have thrown in this emergency recording with Kathleen Scheible about the Homeopathic Medicine Political Action Committee. You can find out more information at homeopathic medicine PAC.org. That's Homeopathic Medicine PAC.org. This is something that doesn't just affect everyone in America, but also the rest of us in the rest of the world because of the flow-on effects that this will have. Have a listen to this episode, share it far and wide on your social media, and let's all give a hand and to make a big difference for our future in homeopathy.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout Podcast, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now our mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and welcome back to Homeopathy Hangout Podcast, where today we have return guest Kathleen Scheible. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Eugenie. It's been too long.
It's been too long. I had to go back, and you were actually episode 174. That was the 27th of March, 2023. That was a while ago, hey? But It doesn't feel that long because we're Facebook buddies. So I just see you pop up on my feed all the time. And then yesterday I saw an email, or was it the day before? So an email comes through from you about something that's happening and you need some funds because you need to be fighting the things that your governmental organizations are doing. And I messaged you and we just hooked it up straight away. So I don't even know exactly what we're talking about today. But
I love
it. If there's something happening in the homeopathy world worldwide that we need to band together and help, then we need to tell our listeners about it. So you've got the stage. What is happening?
Okay. So I think some slice of your listeners, especially in the U.S., will be familiar with and maybe a little tired of hearing about the FDA has been since around 2015 and then definitely since 2019 when they changed their draft guidance of how they considered homeopathic medicines. It's been a tough environment, especially for our domestic manufacturers. This has more to do with the homeopathic medicines than it doesn't really have much to do with the practice of homeopathy, but of course those two things are very interlinked. So, around 2019, they officially changed their guidance to basically say that they considered all homeopathic medicines to be unapproved new drugs. Because in the law, in the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act from, I believe it was around 1920, homeopathics were sort of lumped in with pharmaceuticals at that time. But there were plenty of doctors, including people at the FDA, who well understood the distinction between homeopathics and conventional pharmaceuticals at that time. So it was a sort of, yes, they're drugs, but they're a special class of drugs, and we just sort of agree to not scrutinize them as much as we do the other drugs. And so they've been sort of in this limbo for a long time. And it wasn't until around 2015 that the FDA started really taking a second hard look at homeopathics in the U.S. to say, what modern standards should apply to good manufacturing principles? How are these different from conventional pharmaceuticals, or are they not? And why aren't they required to be, for example, tested as new drugs with a gold standard placebo-controlled trials and things like that? So, in some ways, on the face of it, all fair questions. And on the other hand, lots of people, I think, had been wondering, why aren't we more regulated like over-the-counter supplements or, over-the-counter drugs? And it's a good question, and I'm not sure the right answer to that, other than it was historical. So for those of you, as we were talking about, I think you have interviewed Paula Brown.
Yeah, I
and
was
maybe
actually just
some
on my
others.
phone trying to find the episode. So there was episode 140 was the latest one with her, where there was like an emergency update, recent FDA guidelines. That was the 11th of December 2022. And often they like to do these things before Christmas, right? Like they like to like slide things through before Christmas to not give you much time to actually be able to act. And I can see this was actually called episode 140.5 because we had to like slide it in between other scheduled episodes. And I think we're going to do the same today. We'll just upload it straight after this one. We won't even edit it.
You.
Just get it out there so people know what's going on. Because
I would appreciate. Yeah, I would appreciate people, if you want to know in more detail, I would go back and listen to Paula Brown's episode, because she's probably going to be able to give much more detailed background on this issue. But suffice to say that since that time, and again, really since 2019, nothing has changed since that terrible turn of events with the FDA. So lots of things have been, happening. The homeopathic world here in the US have been reacting. The pharmaceutical companies, the homeopathic pharmaceutical companies, have a wide range of response, and some of the bigger ones are trying to just basically go along with the FDA, and some of the smaller ones cannot really feasibly do that. And so a lot of the ones that we rely on for single remedies, for example, as opposed to Boiron and some of the big global manufacturers, we're worried about their ability to stay in business, and that is from direct connection with them. So it's a balance, and I will say that Americans for Homeopathy Choice has really been spearheading the collaboration, the talks, the trying to understand their pain points and what really is reasonable for them to do from a good manufacturing standpoint, which had been controlled by what's called the CPG 400, which is another thing the FDA did away with, which it also did encapsulate some good manufacturing principles. But then when they decided to change things, everything sort of went out the window. So now the small manufacturers don't really have any guidance for good manufacturing principles either. So it's another reason that legislation is being proposed to sort of put it in law, so that we don't have to rely on the FDA, who no longer understands about homeopathic medicines at all internally. We want to keep the understanding and the acceptance of what is a homeopathic remedy, what is not, in the hands of the homeopathic community. So Americans for Homeopathy Choice and stakeholders have been diligently working on legislation for quite a while now. And suffice to say, we don't have exact details yet, and I can't really get into which legislators are on board to support us, but there are legislators, bipartisan support in the U.S., who are supporting this approach. And so the PAC has many goals, including just very broadly, defending homeopathic medicine and helping to educate people about it within the U.S. government. But we did understand also that with this potential need for legislation, that there would be a role for a PAC, because in the U.S., it is one avenue by which we create more of a relationship with the legislators who are willing to go to bat for us, essentially.
When you say the PAC, what do you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's called a Political Action Committee.
Okay, gotcha.
And it is the main device within our system of government by which people raise funds to either, we have a hybrid PAC, so it just means like we can both contribute directly to legislators, as well as we can raise unlimited funds for things like education of, for example, a couple of years ago, we got together a coalition of people in the natural health field, people in the organic gardening, kind of organizations, to do a poll, a Marist poll, which is a third party, and they have a really good reputation for conducting, quality research. And so they did a research survey in the US, just basically demonstrating really wide support for supplements and homeopathics, and people willing to vote for local legislators who support their access to those things. And it kind of surprised us even really across demographics, like urban, rural, high income, low income, men and women, like very across the board. Something like 75% of participants were, showing that they care about that issue and they're willing to vote based on it. So that was one thing that the PAC had invested in. And, and again, we're trying to help educate our legislators on that people care about these issues.
That would have costed quite a bit. So you would have had to pay this independent company that does this research, and it would have been like the general public that they would have not like homeopaths. So
right,
it's an independent. Random. Wow, yeah. that would have costed a lot. And so this is
thousands of dollars, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's great because then you have got this independent research to show that it's actually something that people care about.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. Whose idea was it to do that? I think that's just brilliant.
Yeah, that was Betsy on our team. She's actually the lawyer who's on our PAC board, but she's been in the natural health field, in terms of as a legal representative for decades, and so she's seen these issues kind of come up a lot.
Shout out to Betsy. Thank you, Betsy. We need people like you in our industry.
Definitely. Yeah, I've been learning so much from everyone on the team. So it is very much a team effort. But yeah, so in addition to those kind of efforts, now that we're getting closer to the legislation being introduced and trying to form relationships with legislators in their offices about this, we're raising funds directly to do that. And so, the comparison often comes up of, we're not obviously the big pharma in the lobbying firms for that, and the dollars that go into swaying our legislators in support of big pharma are orders of magnitude higher than we are even thinking about raising.
It's like a David and Goliath situation, really, right?
It very much is, yes, yes. But, I try not to dwell too much on that, because there's a very big difference between having a seat at the table and having no seat at the table.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're really trying to do, is create some awareness. Again, Americans for Homeopathy Choice Action and the Homeopathy Action Team, which is mostly volunteer moms for the most part, who've been connecting with like 80% of the legislators' offices across the country for years. With homeopathy on the Hill.
Huge shout out to all of you. Thank you, mums. Thank you. I mean, thank you, all of you. I'm sure not all of them are mums, but thank you.
That's right. But they have done the vast majority of the heavy lifting on this effort. So we feel like we're kind of coming in with the PAC as a little bit of a puzzle piece right now for that particular effort. It's necessary, but not sufficient to get the full job done. But it is necessary. And I know lots of people in homeopathy specifically, but natural health in general, wish this was not the way that our government worked, wish we did not need to just keep, putting money towards the system. But I do think with the current administration, I mean, I know it's a complex situation right now, but I do think we probably have our best chance in generations to pass this kind of legislation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Holy moly. So the PAC is something different to Americans for Homeopathy Choice. It's this kind
Yes.
of, it's its own independent thing, but it's creating these funds to kind of do these side things to kind of keep the ball rolling, which I think it's beautiful that you're doing that. So you're working collaboratively, but so that not all the pressure is on Americans for Homeopathy Choice. And, if there's anybody that has an excuse to say, no, I can't help, it's a mother. Because we are the busiest people on the planet. And yet they are
Yes.
the ones, because we also at the same time care about our children and the future of our children and having access to these medicines. And you don't mess with a mama bear, that's for sure. So I just want to say thank you so much to all those mums that are actually going and having these meetings with all the legislators over there, but also for you guys for
Yeah.
starting the PAC. When did the PAC start and how did this come about? I mean, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I wasn't even aware of it.
Yeah. It's been a little under the radar for a while, and truthfully has not been fully maybe needed as much until recently. So, started in 2017 with the anticipation of the need for this moment, and not sure when that was going to be, but also like wanting to develop more of a base, and we're all pretty. Everyone involved, I think, is pretty new to this as well. So part of it is just being green in the world of political action committees in this country. I think it's the first ever for homeopathy. Normally it would be industry that would start a PAC, but that's not the case in our case. So.
Amazing.
So yeah, I think we've been sort of getting our footing since then. I got involved, I think, in 2019, and then have been heading it up for a few years now.
Amazing. You've also recently, just yesterday, I think you said, written an article for hpathy.com. So we'll put the
Yes.
link. So there's just a bit more background, I think.
Definitely more background, more of the technical details, and what is a PAC and what does it do, and the type of PAC we are, which again has two different types of contributory funds, if you want to read more about it. But one essentially accepts unlimited funds, and that is the one for education and more influence. And the other, the contributory, which goes directly to legislators, there's a $5,000 limit per person per year, and you have to be an American citizen, or else to be a permanent resident who has a green card to contribute.
Okay. So we'll link
Yeah.
that article in the notes as well. But most importantly, this will also be in the show notes. Tell us about, because I must be subscribed to your newsletter. Maybe it's probably Americans for Homeopathy Choice that the newsletter
Yeah, I
came
think
through.
so.
But
Yeah.
where do people go to make sure that they receive all the information they need? Have you got a social media page, or is it just through the newsletter? And also, where do people contribute?
Yeah, it's the website, which is I will definitely send you for the show notes. It's also at the end of the article, but it's Homeopathic Medicine PAC.org. And so that is where you donate. It's where you can learn about our history as well. And we do just newly have a Facebook page. We're not doing too much social media so far. I think American Institute of Homeopathy will be sharing about us on social media more in the near future. Probably Americans for Homeopathy Choice as well. But yeah, that is one of the challenges, which is why I so appreciate you having me on, is that for people just to know that we exist. And, it's a challenge too, like with some of the homeopathic nonprofits in the US, they can feel, even though they might be supportive, they can say like, I'm not sure if we're a 501c3, I'm not sure we're supposed to be sharing about a PAC, because it's very much not a tax exempt organization, because we give directly to legislators. It is not like a 501c3, and so people don't get a tax write-off for donating.
Okay, but they get good karma and good vibes that our
Yes.
medicine can continue to be available. No, that's great. I've just hopped on the website now. So Homeopathic Medicine PAC, so PAC.org, and you've got some info on there. You've got the donate button right on the front page, which is great. Amazing. So you can do a one-time donation, recurring donations. Excellent. Great. Kathleen, that's awesome. Is there anything else that we need to know?
I mean, just to be aware that I know that probably things have been percolating about this bill and about this effort for years, and we're closer than we've ever been. But I will say, when a bill gets introduced, whenever that is, you know, we are reminding ourselves just that there might be some press and some media, and some of that will involve skeptics.
Yeah.
And
Most certainly.
yeah. And so the primary thing to say is that for the most part, we don't want to engage with them, because the best strategy is to, this isn't really about whatever they think about homeopathic medicine. So,
Good vibes
but
only.
yes. So, but yeah, and then also we hope to, the other thing I can say that, we are making some good connections, and I will be traveling to Washington, D.C. probably multiple times in the next few months, for various, events related to this. And, also potentially with a colleague. Do you know Gabrielle Traub?
Yes. Yes. She's from
Okay.
my hometown in Cape Town in South Africa originally.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you were from Cape Town.
Yeah, I am. And I've been seeing photos of her hanging out with RFK and with Del Bigtree and with all the, and she's been doing amazing work. Actually, I have her booked in for an episode very soon as well, because I said to
Oh,
her,
good.
what are you up to? Like, come talk to me, because I just see her with
She's
all
up
these.
to a lot. She's
Yes.
up to a lot. And so she's been on the inside track with the Maha Institute.
Yes, I saw. I'm getting
Okay.
goosebumps as you're saying it, actually. It's so cool. And she's
So,
just
yeah,
such,
actually,
I mean, if we, I've literally got goosebumps all up my legs. If you had to have like the most perfect like spokesperson, because she is just everything that represents good health,
yes.
plus just
Yeah.
a beautiful person, so well spoken. Yeah, no, it's great. We have a
Yeah,
great
so
ally in her.
oh, good. I'm so glad she's coming on. She has been doing so much. I can't even believe everything. But she had invited me to attend a Maha Institute panel with her this week. And unfortunately, it got canceled at the last moment. But we were supposed to go to an event, and that was about the NIH, National Institute of Health. And so she, I know, also is making a lot of good connections in the current HHS administration. So that's been tremendously helpful as well. So we're all working together, basically.
It really feels like the energies have kind of like come together. And like you were saying before, like it feels like this is like as good a time as has ever been for us to really make a breakthrough in all of this. And it's kind of like a marathon. And it feels like we're in that last little bit of just really breaking through and people accepting homeopathy and it being kind of more mainstream and people using it all over the place. And so it's that last little push, and with RFK, being so positive, and we all know he uses homeopathy. Hopefully, one day he can come on the podcast. I have insider information. I know you do.
Okay, good.
So hopefully this can, we can get it out there. And I mean, it's just so silly, really, that we're having this conversation. It's a safe, effective natural medicine that's been used for 250 years. It's not one of the leading causes of death, unlike some other things, which we won't mention. It's crazy that we even have to have this conversation. But, this is the game that's being played, and we just need to push through that last little bit. So please dig deep and please support this. Share it on your social media. Share it in your newsletters. Get it out there. Run little competitions, to, I don't know, to donate those funds towards this cause. I think it's amazing. And thank you so much for doing this, Kathleen. And thanks for coming on the podcast and sharing this with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate you and appreciate everything you do to support the community. It's amazing. So
Thank you. It's just a pleasure. It's all the best interest for all of us and for our children. I mean, everything I do it's always for my children. Even this is for my children, even though we're not living in America. Like, we all need to have free access to this. And so it's wonderful.
I think there's a lot of ripple effects,
100%. And even the fact that it's 2015 that this started. I mean, we had that, 2015 happened with the, the homeopathy.
The report.
And then the report after that. And then, so it ripples everywhere. And so if we can get this, through in the US, it's going to ripple back our way. So in a good way. So yeah, it's great.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, and please reach out to me if I think also on the website we have there's an email that I check. And so if you have questions, if you have, concerns or whatever, just feel free to email, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to engage with people about this. So.
Amazing. Or if you can volunteer or help or can donate, just please, get involved in this. It's so important. Doesn't matter where in the world you are. This affects all of us.
Agreed.
Lots of love to
you
Kathleen.
So much.
Bye.
To you too. Bye.